we stop at operators. As you can see on my screen here, I'm going to continue with these comparison operators. So when you're talking about comparison operators, this is what you can use to compare one value to the other value. So there are these operators. So we have greater than, we have less than, we have greater than or equals to, we have less or equals to, and I think I've talked about it before. So I don't think I should go over it again. I've talked about this in the class. I think this is the next one I'm supposed to talk about. So yeah, we have this logical operator. So they are called logical operators, and this is how they work. I hope you can see my screen because this thing is very important too. Hello, can you see my screen, please? I can hear you.
I can see it now.
Yeah, so we have this or. So we have this.
I can see your screen.
Yeah, so we have this or operator. So we have all operator. So what is the all operator? This is it here. So this pipe, this double pipe, is what we call the all operator. And what is the job of this all operator in JavaScript? Because the way it works in another language, it's quite different from the way it works in JavaScript. So the way it works is that it works with two values. So when you're dealing with or operator, it works with two values. You are going to have a value on the left, and you're going to have a value on the right. But which one is it? So the job of this or is to either return the value on the left or to return the value on the right. So that's what it does. So it returns the value on the left or it returns the value that you pass to it on the right. But which one is it going to return back? So the one is going to return back is depending on whether this your left is giving you a truthful value or a false value. If you remember last time, I talked about what is truthful value and what is false value. Truthful value is true, like this, one, anything that is not so. Let's just talk about false value. So from false value, you will know the truthful value. The false value are this, the false. So we have false, we have 0, we have empty string, we have undefined, we have null, we have none, not a number. So all these value here, they are known as false value. So which means anytime you use them, they will be translated to false. That's what it does mean. When you say false value, it means when you use them with boolean, they are going to be false. So when you use them with boolean, they are going to be false. And how do you confirm them? Just pass it into this boolean here. So when you pass the empty string into boolean, you see that it's returning false. Again, if you pass false there, it's still going to be false. And again, if you pass 0 there, it's going to be false. If you pass undefined there, it's going to be false. That's what we call false value. Any of the value you are passing to boolean and they are returning false, they are known as false value. But if it is truthful value, that means anytime you pass the value to boolean, they are returning true. So like 1 now is a true, as you can see, is returned true. So if you pass minus 10 or whatever stuff, it's still going to return true. So those ones that I showed to you before, they are known as false value. So when you're talking about false, so we have false values like this. So for the false value, you have false itself. So false, 0, empty string, not the one that has space. That space one is not false value like that. So we have undefined, and which other one do we have? We have none, which is not a number. We have null like that. So these are the common false value. But every other value that you know, they are not false there like that. And that's what this logical operator is using. So anytime you pass a value, so your value you'll be using, you are going to have the value on the left side of it, and you're going to have the value on the right side of that operator there. But which one is it going to return? Which one is it going to return is depending on whether the value on the left is true or it is false. So when you're using this operator, anytime the value on the left is returning true, then that means the value that is going to return is on the left. But if the value you have on the left is false, then it's going to return the value on the right. This is what I'm calling left, and this is what I'm calling right. The operator will be at the center, the value will be on the left, and there's another value is going to be on the right of it. So if whatever you have on the left is a truthful value, then that's the value this operator is going to return. But if the value you have on the left is a false value, then it's going to return the value on the right. For example here, as you can see from the sample, there like that. So we have 2 or 10. So if you calculate the value here, if you check the value here, if it is false value or if it is truthful value, that's the value you get back. For example here, let me do it on the screen. So if we have 2 or we have 10 like this, as you can see, it's returning 2. Why is it returning 2? Is because the value here is a truthful value. And if the value is a truthful value, look at it here. If the value you have on the left is true, that means what you'll be getting back is the left, whatever you pass on the left. If the value here is true, that means by the time you convert it to Boolean, so here now if I convert 2 to Boolean, can you see what is returning? True. So if when you convert the value you have on the left side to Boolean and it's returning true, then that means this pipe here, this operator, it will give you back the value on the left side. But if the value you have on the left side is now false, so which means if the value you have on the left side is false, then this operator is going to give you the value you have on the right side. So if you pass this 0, which is something I've shown you before, like that. So if you pass it into Boolean, as you can see, it is false. So if any value you have on the left side is a truth value, it's going to return that value back for you, the one you have on the left. But if the value you have on the left is not true, that means when you pass it to Boolean, it's not returning true, then it's going to return the value you have on the right side. Hello? When you are using this,
okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, when you are using this operator, it works with 2 values. You have one value on the left, you have one value on the right. So it's going to return any one of these values based on what is going on the left. It's the left that is determining what is going to happen. So whatever value you have on the left of it, whatever value you have on the left of it, let me clear my screen and draw. So whatever value you have on the left of it, that's what is going to determine what is going to happen. If the value on the left, when you convert it to Boolean, is true, that's the value is going to return back to you. But if the value on the left side, when you check it with Boolean, is returning false, then it's going to give you back whatever you have on the right side. So it will return what you have on the right side if the value on the left is false. But it will return that left if the value there is true. That's how it works. So this operator here, it will return the value on the left or the right based on the value that you put on the left. This thing might look, because we are going to be using it later on. That's why I'm explaining it better right now. So if whatever you pass on the left side is returning true for you, then that value is going to get returned. But if the value you have on the left is returning false, then that means it's going to give you the value on the right side. And this is the left side, and this is the right side of the operator. There like that. So for the pipe operator, whatever you put on the right, it's going to return it if the left is returning false, like that. So what is this one going to return now based on this now? So what if I have this test and I have or 5 now. So which one is it going to return here? Which one is it going to return here? Between these two, which one is it going to return? This was the answer for this one now. Which one is it going to return here?
It's going to return 5.
There is no way it will return 5. What is going to return here is test.
Okay, test.
Why? I told you this one, when you convert it to Boolean, there's no way this one will give you false. Because don't forget, the one that will give you false is the one that have empty string. So it's when you have empty string that you are going to get false. As long as it's not empty string, can you see? Even if it is space, it will not give you false again. So which means test here too will not give you false. As you can see, that is returning true. The only one that will give you false is the empty string. So it's only the empty string that will give you false. Any other text, they are going to be true. As long as it is something inside that place, so it's going to be true. So that's why it's going. So now if I try it now, if you look at it now, if you do it, let me clear this one out. Like that. So if I have test or 5, can you see what is returning back? Test. It will never return 5 because the value here is not returning false. The only time it will return this side, the right side, is when the value here return false. So okay, what about this one now? So what if we have let's just say So which one is it going to return from this one? Which one is it going to return here?
It's going to return 6.
Yeah. So it's going to return 6. Because by the time you convert it to Boolean, that's what it's going to. So it's never return 7. Because the 6 is not false value like that. So the same thing we have for this all is the same thing we have for this and. But this one do it in opposite. This one do it in opposite. So the same thing you are doing with this or pipe is still the same thing you are going to be doing with this and. But the difference between them is that is the left is when it is true. Oh, don't let me even talk it like that. Let me use this one directly. So when you're dealing with and, so this is opposite of it. So this one too, it work with A and B like this. So this one too, it work like this. A is the value on the left, while the B is the value on the right. So this one too, when the left, so this one flip it to, that's why I was saying that is the opposite of that one. Now when you are dealing with all, when the left is true, is returning left, right? And when the left is false, is returning right. But this one do it in the opposite direction. So when the left is true, it will return right. And when the left is false, then it return left. When you are dealing with all, when the left is true, it will give you back that left. But when the left is false, then it will return what you have on the right. So this one this one is doing it in the opposite direction. So when you are dealing with and, when the left side, if it's giving you true, just pick what is on the right. But if it's giving you false, then you are going to pick what is on the left. So which means everything that we did here is going to be the reverse for this one. So if you have 2, so for this one now, if you have 2 or you have 10, what you are going to get back is 2 when you are dealing with or. But if you change it from or to and, can you see what is and doing? It's returning the right. When it is or and what you have on the left is true, it will return that left. But for the and, if the left side is true, it will return the right side. I hope it's clear.
Yes, boss.
For the all, once you know one of them, just reverse it for the other one. That's just the stuff. So when you're dealing with all, what is going to return when this left side is true is that left. But for the and, when the left is true, it will return the right. And now when the other one, so when you do all and 7, as you can see, because this one is false, that's why it is turning right. But that's not what is going to happen when you use and. So if it is and, it's going to return the left side. So for all, when this side is false, it will return the right. But for the and, when it is false, it will just return that value at the left side. So and is going to pick left when it is false. And all is going to pick right when it is false. So that's the difference between them. They work the same way, but the value they are returning is different based on the left side. So if the left is false for all pipe, for this all symbol, it will return the right side. But for the and, if the left side is false, then it's going to return that left back to the color. All these things are very important because we are going to be using them later on. I like that. And again, you can combine them together, but I don't want to scatter your head because you can combine multiple operators together. Every of the operators we've talked about, you can combine them together, but I don't want to do that one yet. We want to use them separately like this. But when we want to be using them later on, they are not going to be using. They're going to be used separately. You are going to be combining them together, and in order for you to grab it, that's why you'll be going to be seeing bracket a lot later on. For example, I have 4 or 10 like this, and here I have and I have 6 or 4 and I have 3 like this. So as you can see, you can combine them together like this way. And what is happening here is that what this thing is doing is you do this one first, again you do this one, then the result you get from here, you compare it against the result you get from here. That's what is happening. But I don't want to go deeper into combining them together now. Later on, we're going to be combining them together. But for now, we are talking about them one by one. So what this one we're doing is 4 or 19. This one is going to give us 4. And here, 4 or 3 like that. So, this one too, when this one is true, it's going to return the other side. So which means it's going to return 3. And again too, what is the final answer here? No, for the result here is going to be 4, and you're going to have, for that one, you're going to have 3. And you know that when this side is true, it will always return the opposite, not the one that is here. But assuming it is all now, assuming it is all, you see that it will return 4. So that's what is going on there, like that. But for now, we don't want to combine it together because it will be too much like that. This is the first time you are seeing them, so it's better you know how they work on their own first before you start combining them together. So for the all, when the left is true like this, it return left. That's why I have this table here. So when the left is true, it's return left. When the left is false, then it's return right. That one is for the all pipe. But when you're dealing with AND, so when the left is true, it will return right. And when the left is false, then it return that left back to you there like that. And the last one we have is this NOT. This one is not doing like the other one. This one will either return true or false. So when you're dealing with NOT is this symbol here. So this is what we call NOT in programming here, not exclamation mark. It is known as NOT operator. So for this pipe here, it is known as all, and anytime you see this one, is known as AND. So that's the name for them. So there is nothing like exclamation mark here. So here, this is NOT. And what is the job of NOT? Whatever you pass beside it is going to negate it to true or false based on whether that value is false value or true value. So if the value you have beside it is false value, it will negate it and it will turn it to a true value. It's not changing the value, the result you are getting back, not that they are changing value. So every of the thing you'll be doing with all these operators, they are not changing your value. They are just using the value to give you the results. So here, if I do not true like this, it will give us the opposite of that, which is going to be false. And if I do not false, then it's going to give you the opposite. That's the NOT. His job is to translate the value that you have, that is truthful value, to false value. It's not changing the value itself, but it's the results that you are getting back, not that it's changing value. So here, if you have A to be a truthful value, the result you get back is false when it is not. Then if the value is a false value, then what you get back is true. For example, here now, if I said not 0, so 0 is a false value. As you can see, it negates it and we get the truthful value. Again too, if I do not 1, don't forget 1 by default when you convert it to Boolean is true. So since it's true, it will negate that and we are going to get false. So not, whatever value you put beside it, it will check whether that value is truthful value or false value. If it is a false value, it will return true. If it is a truthful value, then it will return false. That's the job. It's always negating the Boolean value of whatever you pass beside it. So this is what it's doing there. 1, when you pass it to Boolean, so you check the Boolean of that value. When you check it, as you can see, it's true. So since it's true, not will return false when the value is true. But if the value, after you convert it to Boolean, is returning false, then the NOT is going to return true back to you. That's how it works. So, and this one are going to be used later on. For example, you want to check whether it's not admin that login or it is admin that login. So that's where the NOT comes in. For example, now let's just say username is admin. So assuming this is admin that log into your system, but you want to check if it is not admin that log in. So here you can just say not. So we can just say let me just use it in this way. So username is not the same thing as admin here. So I'm using this relational one, but this other one too, you can check whether the value that is here is false value or is true value. For this one now, I'm using this the one that we've talked about before, which is this comparison here. We check whether the value are not the same or the value are the same. But if you look at it here too, this one return false, because here now it means the value that is here is actually admin, and based on that you can do some stuff you want to do, which is what I'm going to be jumping into this side now. I'm going to be jumping into this branching because this is where we're going to be using some of these operators here, which is this branching and looping. And what is this conditional structure here? What this thing means is that there are some things you want to do in your code that are going to be based on a condition, which is something I just mentioned now. I want to check if the person that logs in is having a username admin or not. If you have a username admin, there is something I need to do, and if you don't have the username admin, there's another thing I need to do. Or you are creating an application where people can vote, but there's a condition there. people that are below 18 cannot vote. The only people that can vote are people that are above 18. So how do you check? So whatever user that is going to be logging into your system, you already have their age. So it's now less for you to compare the age to what you are looking for. So if the age is up to that, allow them to vote. But if the age is not up to that, then they are not going to see the code that is going to carry out the voting process. And that's where this branching or conditional structure comes in. With this, you can ask some questions first before you run your code. And we have this different structure that you can use to achieve this. We have the if statement, we have the if else statement, we have the if else if statement, we have the switch statement, and we have this ternary operator there like that. So they are used to kind of run some code in your program. All the code are going to be there, but that doesn't mean all of them are going to run there like that. So you can use this if to check if a particular condition is met. And if that condition is met, you do something. If it's not met, then you don't do anything. That's what the if is there for. With if, you can check whether a particular condition is met or not. So if you use it to check whether a particular condition is met or not. And this is the structure here. So this is the structure. So we have the if. Then inside this place, you pass the condition. And if the condition is true, it's going to run whatever code you have under this curly brace here. Whatever code you pass under this curly brace are only get to run if the condition here is true. If the condition is false, it's not going to do anything at all. So for example here now, assuming we have something like this, we have this code in this way that I've prepared down because I don't want to waste time. So look at it now. We have a variable age. As you can see now, we started using all these things. So this is the condition here that we are checking. So we are checking whether the user or the age is greater or equals to 18. By now, you know this operator because we've talked about it before now. So, this one will check whether the value is greater or equals to this value. So it will get the value inside your age, which is 18 right now, and it's checking whether it is greater or equals to 18. Here, you either get true or false. Because here now, if I declare, let's just say, let age to be 18, not 198, to be 18 like this. Then from here, I can do 8 is greater or equals to 18. That's what can you see? So this is what we need. So that your condition here will either return true or false. If that thing return true, it means everything you have in this bracket is going to work. But if whatever condition you are testing here is returning false, then it means it's not going to do anything in the bracket. That's what this if is there. You are asking a question, is this thing okay? So if this thing is okay, that means you are getting back yes, which is true. It will do whatever you have here. But if you did not return back yes here, or you did not return back true, then it's going to skip everything you have here. That's this if. The job of if here is to check, to run this code, if and only if everything you have there is returning true, like that. So if the thing is not returning true, then we are not going to see this console log at all. So if I save this code now, once I save this code and I get to the browser there, you see that we are going to be seeing this console log. As you can see, we can see console log there because this value is returning true. But now imagine we have this value not to be 18, it is 14. So at this point, what we are doing is that is age greater or equals to 18. This one will be false. And since it's false, it will skip everything you have here. Once your condition is false, it will not do whatever in the bracket. Can you see? Nothing is coming out again. Once the condition is false, nothing under this curly brace is going to work. It will skip it. The only time it will do everything under this curly brace is whatever you pass here is returning true. If the value here is not returning true or is not a truthful value, it will skip everything here. Once the condition you pass here is a false value, it will not do anything here. As long as it is a false value, the same thing here too, I can just pass false. It will not work. So if I pass false, it will not even do anything because that's a false value. But here, if I pass true like this, it just has the same thing as you not even putting anything here, because when you say true, it will always be true every time. But the only time you'll be using this if is when you want to test condition like this, because at this point age can be different value. So for the first user, age can be 14. For the second user, age can be 10, because it's the same code that you are going to run for everybody, but their age will be different. Then based on that, you check their age, the person that is using the application at that moment, you check the age. Then if it is up to this, do this one. But if it's not up to that, then don't do anything, because there is no way you'll be creating code for different age. No, that's not that is not ideal. What you do is one code you have, but in your code, anything that can change, you are going to attach condition to them by using this if to check if whatever they need to do, they have access to that. So if they have access to that, you do it for them. But if they don't have access to that, so this thing is going to skip it, because there is returning false. So the only time it will run this code is when whatever you are doing here is returning true. If whatever you are doing here is not returning true, nothing here is going to work and you are not going to see anything. But we don't want to do that. There is some time, if the condition is false, you want to do another thing. That's where this if else comes in. You know, if you look at it now, when the age is not equal to, or is not greater or equals to 18, nothing is coming out. But what if you want to display a message to them when their age is not up to 18? We can use this if else. So this one works like if too, just that this one gives us the option to showcase something to the user if the condition is not met. So this one allows us to do some other thing if the condition is not met, and it follows this pattern here like that. So if the condition is true, this is what you are going to see. This is what is going to get run. But if the condition is false, this is the one that is going to run. Not the two of them. You will never get the two of them. So when the condition is true, it will do everything inside this curly brace here before the else. But if the condition is false, then it's going to do everything we have under this else. You can never get the two of them. Only one, depending on whether the condition here is true or false. So if you want them to be able to see everything, that means you don't even need to be using this condition at all. If you want everybody to see it, it's just like you are typing your code the way we have been doing it at the top here. So if everybody needs to see it, there's no need of you adding any condition. But you will be adding condition to a lot of things, because when you build something, you want this thing to happen if a particular action is carried out here. So if the color is red, that's when you want to do this. Or if the user logged in is admin, that's when you want to show the admin dashboard. But if it's not admin that logged in, you want to show the user dashboard. So there's a lot of things you are going to be attaching condition to later on, and this is the simplest way of doing it there, by asking a question. If this one is this, like if it is true, perform everything here. At this point, when it is admin, there is no need for admin to be seeing the user dashboard. Just show their own admin dashboard. But if it is not admin that logged in, so that means here it is going to be false. And since it's false, then it's going to run the code that you have under this else statement. So else statement will be run if the condition is false, while this one will run if the condition is true, but not the two of them together. Only one. It can never happen that the two of them is going to work. So for example here now, bringing our application back again. So we have this age to be 16. So if this question that we are asking here is true, then this is what you are going to get. But if the question we are asking here is false, then this is what you are going to get. So now if I save it, you see now we now have message for people that are not up to 18. So if you are not up to 18, then you get the stuff here under the S, because that's what we are doing here. We are trying to make sure that the only people that can vote here are people that are 18 and above. But if it's less than that, then it's going to do what you have under the S. So if the condition is true, you get what you have here before the S. But if the condition is false, then you are going to get what is under the S like this. So here if I put 19, so this is bigger or is greater than 18, you see that the message of this one is going to come outside there like that. So what is it going to be the output of this one? Let's just do this simple. So let me just say let username to be admin like this. So and what I want to do here is that I want to do if okay, log welcome So what is going to be the result here now? So which one is he going to pick here? So what is going to be the output in the console based on what we've talked about? What's going to be the output on the console?
It's going to be Mr. Abubakar.
So check it very well. Check the condition.
Okay. Not admin. That's false. It's going to give me the opposite of it. Yeah, it should be Mr. Abubakar.
Are you sure? Because look at it. This one, it said when it is not equals to. So are you sure that's what is going to
Admin.
be? So are you sure that's
Yes, when it is not. Yes, when it's not equals to admin, that is admin is not logging in. Then it should print Mr. Abubakar.
Yeah. So here now the condition says when it is not equal. So which means you only get through here when the value is not the same thing as this. But if you look at it, the value are actually the same. So that means everything here is going to turn to false.
Yes. You're right.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just explaining. I did not give you any answer. I asked you for the answer.
Okay.
So you are the one picking the answer. So what's the answer?
Username, you said username admin, right? Not admin. Yeah, I'm still correct. It's Abubakar.
Yeah, I just want to tweak. I just want to be sure that you know what you are saying. So you know it's not like you are picking this in like that. So when this thing is saved, can you see welcome Mr. Abu? And I'm trying to explain what you talked about. So when it's because what you are asking, that's what I'm saying. I'm just confirming your answer that is when it is not equal to admin that this one is going to be true. But since this one now they are the same, no, everything here will turn to false. And since it's false, it means it will not do everything here. Yes. It will just move to the else part. Because when the condition is false, it will go to the else. But when the condition is true, it will do everything before the else. So, which is the same thing as what you mentioned, which is welcome, Mr. Abubakar. Because it's only when there is it's not admin that we want to show this one. But when it is admin, you know, because but now if I remove this and change it to this, then it's going to be that false one because the condition has changed. So now it's not going to be Mr. Abubakar again. It's not going to, because here now the only time it will be true is when they are equal. When it is not, that's the reason why we talk about operator first. So you need to understand what all these things are doing before you can be able to start doing some other thing like that, because they are going to be used together with other things, but you need to understand how each one of them works, because that's how you'll be reading them. You read what is inside the condition, then based on true or false, then you pick whatever you need to do here like that. So that's how this thing works here in this way. We have another one too, which allows you to text multiple conditions. If you look at it now, everything I've been talking about since is just one condition. But what if you want to compare your value against multiple conditions there like that? That's where this the third one comes in, which is this if s. They are separate things on their own. So it comes like this. So this is how this one works. So this one allows you to text multiple conditions. This one allows you to test multiple conditions. As you can see at the top here, we only have one condition, which is just condition, nothing like condition 1, condition 2. But with this method, it allows you to test multiple conditions. For example here, assuming when you are dealing with score, under the score, there are different grades for each score. When you score between, let's just say between 70 to 100, that's A. But if you score between 50 or let's just say 60 to 69, that's B, and so forth like that. So that means here now, you can't just say because someone did not score between 100 to 90, every other one failed. No, there is still some other condition you need to check in between. That's where this kind of stuff comes in like that. For example now, let me bring an example come outside there like that. Assuming we have something like this. So for example, so this one, the way it works is this. The way it works is this before I go to the example. So if to check this condition 1. So if the condition 1 is okay, it will only do what you have there and it will skip every other thing. It's only one thing you want to do here, not multiple stuff, but it can check multiple conditions if the first one is not okay. So if the first condition is okay, it will perform the action under it and it will skip every other thing that follows it. But if the condition 1 is false, then it will now go to condition 2 and check. If the condition 2 is okay too, it will do everything here and forget about every other thing that follows it. But if the condition 2 is not okay, then it will go to the next one, the next one, the next one, until it gets to the S. Because you can have multiple conditions here, not just 2. You can have, this one allows you to create multiple conditions, not just 2 conditions like this. So you can continue like this to create multiple conditions. But only one of them here is going to work. Only one of them is going to work. Which one is it going to work? The one that is true, the first one that is true, that's what is going to pick. So here, even if all of them here, if condition 1 is true, condition 2 is true, condition 3 is true, the only thing that is due here is condition 1, because that's the one is going to first see. The first one you can see that is true, that's what is going to pick. But if the first condition is not true, it will try the second one. If that second one too is not true, it will try the third one. All these one, they are just trial. The first one is what is going to perform first. So if you check the first one and it is okay, then every other one, it will skip them. But if you check the first condition and it is false, then it will now go to the second one to check. It will go to the third one, the fourth one, depending on the number of conditions you want to have in your program. For example, like this one now, as you can see, we have this score to be 85. So the first condition we have here is score is it greater or equals to 70. You know, that's false. So that means there's no way person that is 85 is going to be graded A. So it will skip everything here. So since nothing here is matching in there like that, it will not track the second one. So which is going to be the second condition? Is score greater or equals to 75, which is true because 85 is actually greater or equals to 75. So which means it will see this one. And since it's seeing this one, it will just skip this and every other thing like that follows it. And once I save now, what we are going to get is that grade is B. But if I change this one now, instead of it to be this, I change it to 95. So since 95 is greater or equals to 90 here, then that's the first one is going to do. It will skip every other one. As you can see, other one are not coming out. Only one. When you are doing it like this, only one is going to work. And the one that will work, you can see that this second one too is true because 95 is actually greater than 75. It's greater or equals to 75. But because it's seeing this one first, so it will just perform that one and skip the remaining one. So which means when you want to arrange your condition, you need to arrange it in a way that the first one should be something you want to happen first before it will start checking for the other one. So which means if I put, maybe for example now, I put 75 here, I now put 90 here. You know, this one is not making sense. This code, it will work, for your logic. This is what we call logic problem here now. So if I put B here and here I put A, the logic here is wrong because of the way this thing work. So if I save it now, someone that scored 95 is now saying that they score their grade is B. You know, it is not making sense. Your student will start coming to you that this application that you build here is nonsense. Why will I score 95? Yes. Why will I score 95? You are telling me that my grade is B. So you have to arrange it in a way that the highest one will always win first before the lowest one. So if you arrange it, the first one it can find that is true, that's what it's going to. This is not program. Everything is working, but it's not working according to the way it's supposed to. This is what we call logic error here. Logic error means your program is working, but it's not working according to the way it's supposed to. Like you create a calculator. Everybody know that 1 plus 1 is 2, but your calculator is now showing 30. Calculator is working, but there is a problem with that calculator. So the same thing here too, there is logic problem here because the logic is not placed. You are not putting them correctly. So now returning back to the way it is, you see that everything will start working the way it's supposed to work because of the way this thing works. The first one it can find that is true, that's what it's going to pick. Just because these two of them are true doesn't mean it will do the two of them. The first one it can find is what it's going to do like that. So that's how this one works like that. So the other one we have is this switch. So this switch, you know, this one now you can put different condition anyhow you want, but switch is really useful when you are dealing with equality check. So switch is really useful when you are dealing with equality check, and this is a pattern that one follows like this. So it follows this pattern. So can you see? So it works with equality check. So you are going to have the value here, and this value is going to be compared against all this value. any one of them that return true, that's what is going to run the code. So it will run this code if this value here, value 1, matches the value that you have here. But if it did not match, then it will check the second case. If this one did not match, it will keep checking different cases, and if none of them match, then it will run what we have under the default. So you can think of the default as the S under the if. So this default is the same thing as the S under the if any of this value is not matching. But this one, it doesn't work like if, like, you know, if the first one is true, it will not run the other one. This one doesn't work like that. So in order for it to behave like that, you need to use this break. If the break is not there, so if the value 1 is true and if the value 2 is not true, it will just run all of them like this. That's the craziness about this one, and that's the reason the break is here. So whatever you want to do, any of the cases where you want it to stop, this break must be there. That break is what is going to break the stuff. It will not make sure that it goes to the other cases. So anytime you don't want the cases to be equal, to be the same thing, like that, you are going to put a break in between them. But at some time, you don't need this break. But for now, we actually need a break. When we are dealing with the advanced stuff, at some places you don't need this break, like that. You want to combine multiple things together for the same code, like that. For example, now, let's talk about the day. You know, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth like that. You know, all those one is equality check, because there is something like Monday is greater than Monday, or Monday is or Tuesday is less than. We are not checking that one. We are checking the name. So for example here, let's say we have a day, and the value here we want to compare it, whether it is Monday, Friday, or any other day. So if it is Monday, this is what we want to do. Start of the week, this is what we want to output out. Then if it is Friday, we want to just say weekend. But if it is every other day, that means any one of the day here that is not matching this, just say it is just another day. So what we will do here is that we say switch day. So this day, whatever you pass inside this switch, it will compare it against all your cases. And the first one that's matched there, that's what it's going to do because of this break. Assuming break is not there, it will do everything that follows that one. But since break is there, the first one that is matched is there, that's what it's going to do. So which means if I save this code now, what we are going to get on the screen is going to be the start of the week, as you can see, and it's not doing every other one. But if the break is missing, so there is no break, it's just like your motor without break. It will just be going anywhere it can go. So if I save it now, you see that it will do the two of them. It will do the Monday one and it will do the Friday, because there is no break to stop it. Just like motor that lose break, it will just keep going anyhow like that. But yeah, we don't want the thing to just be going anyhow. Stop for each one of the cases, the when you are done with the code. So whatever code you put before the break is going to do all of them. Whatever you have before the break is going to do all of them. So if I save it here now, you'll see that it will run all this code, but it will never run anything after the break, like that. So once this thing is saved now, you see that it will run all of them, but it will never get to Friday, because at this point we are breaking it. So with what it will do here, break will do is that it will stop here and it will go outside of this your switch and continue with the other code that you have. But what if it is not Monday? What if it is Wednesday like this, like that? You see that it will check, is this value Wednesday the same thing as Monday? No. So since it's not the same thing, it will skip everything here. So it will check against the second one. Is Wednesday the same thing as Friday? It's not the same. It will skip. Is there any other case? No other case. Then it will just go to default and perform whatever you have here. And that's the reason why we have this. Is just another day, because it did not match any one of them yet. But if I use Friday now, like this, so it's going to bring out weekend is near. What about this one? What's going to be the output? What's going to be the output of this one?
Of which one?
Look
Okay,
at
the. Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. I'm waiting for you. What's going to be the output? Look at it from line 206 to line 222. What's going to be the output?
926, 926.
Based on what I just explained now.
The output is going to be. Okay. Weekend is near.
Are you sure? Are your final answer?
Day, cakes. Yes.
So, are you
It's
sure?
going to be weekend is.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are not sure. You missed something. Can you see what is coming out?
Okay. let me.
It's just simple stuff, and I've already
It's
explained
just
it.
an.
I've explained in our last class what is causing this problem here. Can you see that it's just another day? It's not a weekend.
Yes. The condition is Friday, and then it will skip the first one, move to the second one because that one is with the case. So it should be weekend is near. Why is not showing?
I told you JavaScript is case sensitive. This one is small f. This one is capital F.
Oh yes.
So,
Yes.
that's
Case
it.
sensitive.
But I can actually talk to you. So if you want it to match, now that means here to have to be small letter. So now if you save it, then you are going to get that your results. So don't forget comparison. It's comparing the two
Okay.
value along with the case too. Not just that, but there's a way of telling you that don't compare the case. Those one are advanced stuff. You can convert like whatever that is coming here. You can convert them to this one and convert it to small letter. If you don't want it to be case sensitivities, I can just do to lower case here. So now, even if you send small letter or uppercase or whatever stuff, it's going to compare small letter one. So if I save it now, like that, that's already converted to small letter like that, even though it's like this. But we don't need it in this way. So let me just remove all this. So please, everything that I've been talking about, not that all those things they are useful, because when you keep moving forward, that's how they will start coming into places that are being used. And there are little things that can make you to miss what is going on there like that. And the last one that we have there under this conditional structure is known as this ternary operator, which is something I always use a lot like that. And it follows this pattern in this way. This one allows you to do something like this. So this is how it is there like that. So this one is just an expression. So it allows you to set your value or to do some stuff based on this condition. It's just like your if, but it's like a short form, as you can see. It's a shorthand form of if else. So this one check condition, as you can see, question mark, condition in front of it. So if this condition is true, it will return back whatever you have here. But if the condition is false, it will return back whatever you have here like that. For example, here now, we can just do something like this. So let's do something like this. This thing I did not. So let me paste the stuff. What's wrong with VS Code? Window V. Shit. VS Code. So let's do something like this. So let me paste. So look at it here. I want to create a variable message, but the value of this variable is depending on whether the age is greater or equals to, whether you are able to vote or not. Can you see now? Or whether you are, adult or not. I know for you to call yourself adult, that means you are 18 and above. So this message variable now, I want it to depend on the age here. So that's where this conditional or this ternary operator comes in. So you are going to have the condition. So the condition here now, so if you look at it now, the condition is this. So this is the condition, which is the same thing as you have here. So when this condition is true, you are going to return everything that is before this column. Everything before the column, that's what you are going to be setting into whatever you have here. But if the condition is false, so if the condition is false, then you are going to be returning everything after the column. So this is when the condition is false, which is no. So when the condition is false or no, this is what you are going to return. But when the condition here is true, this is what you are going to return here. So if age is greater or equals to 18, that means we are going to do everything here, which means we are going to be returning to message. But if this condition here is not up to or is false like that, then this is what you are going to do. This is what we call ternary operator. You have the condition. After the question mark, this is what you want to do when the condition is okay. But if the condition is not okay, you want to do what is after the column like that. So which means here now, by the time we console log out the message, what are we going to get here? By the time we console log out the message, what is going to be the value of message based on what we have now? Based on what we have now, so what is going to be the value of message? what's going to be the value of message? So this is it here. We have age. Yeah, so because the condition here is true, so since the condition is true, it will pick everything before the colon, and once you save it down, that means age is this value, that means message is this value, like that. Yeah, let me comment out this one because I did not comment out the sample. So now as you can see, you are an adult, but if this one now maybe is 7 now, you know, there's always 7 will be greater than 18. So since it's not greater than, it will skip everything before this. Huh? What do you say?
I can't see again.
What's wrong with this thing?
I can't see the screen.
Okay, still I'm coming. Let me stop sharing and share it again. But it's going to be showing inside the video. So let me share again. What about now? What about now?
Not yet.
Is it network or what? I can hear you now. No net.
No. Yeah, I can see it now.
I guess it's network.
It's coming up now. I think network.
The age is now 7, so that's what I'm showing now. The age is 7.
It has appear again. I think it's network.
No, because the thing is showing now. Let me share it again. Yeah, I'm sharing.
Okay, it's showing now.
Yeah, so the age is now 7. So since there is no way age will be greater than 18, then it will skip everything before the column, and it will pick everything after the column. So once we save this one now, what we are going to get back is you are a minor, like that, because so that's how this one works. So right now, with this little knowledge, you can create a program that it will only work based on a certain condition. So you have an application where the user can input number, and that number, you are telling them to input a number that is greater than 20. So if they input any number that is not greater than 20, you can tell them that the number they input is not up to what you are expecting there, like that. But for now, we don't really know how to interact with the page yet. Once we know how to interact with the page, we are going to be doing all those one later on. But this is what you are going to be using later on by the time you started working on a page. When the user click on a button, if whatever that is inside the box is up to something, you want to do this. If it's not up to that, you want to do another thing. These are what you are going to be using later on to condition the action that is going to all the whatever stuff you want to do based on what the user is cooking for you on the screen there. But we talk about the variable, right? And your variable can assume different value at a time. For example here, let me have age to be 10. So this value now, we will call age, is going to give us the value, and that value I can replace it with another one, and if you call age now, is no longer 10, is now 17. But what if you want to have a variable that can hold multiple value at a time? What if you want to have a variable that can hold multiple value at a time? That's where array comes in. So in JavaScript, array is a data structure that is given to us that you can, don't forget we talk about different data type, which are the simple one. So now we are going to the complex types that we have there, like that. And what is array? So array can help you, or is just a variable that can hold multiple value at the same time. So for the simple definition there, array is just a variable that can hold multiple value at the same time. But it's not just really variable, it's just a data structure. There, as you can see, it's a data structure. But for now, let's just say it's just variable. So when you're talking about variable, an array is just a variable that allows you to store multiple value like that. So you can put, or let me just put it back as a data structure, since I've already have single variable here like this. So when you have your variable can only hold one value at a time. It cannot hold multiple. So it started with 10, but it gets replaced by 17. That 10 is gone. you can never get it again inside this variable, except if you reset it back yourself to 10. And again 2 is no longer 17. If you call age, you never get 17 again because you've replaced it. But what if you want to have a variable that can hold multiple value at the same time? That's where the array comes in. And how do you create array? So to create array, we have different ways that you can use, and these are the simplest ways of creating array in JavaScript. So to create array is just by creating your variable and you use this square bracket here. So this is empty array. So once you use this symbols here, this thing is known as array. So which means this your variable is going to hold multiple value. For example, here we have a list of cars that we want to display to the user on the screen. Maybe you are creating an application for a dealer, and dealership, they want to display the cars that they have there. So you want to use a single variable to hold all the cars that you have there, and you can display them later on. Instead of you creating variable for Toyota, creating variable for Volvo, and creating variable for BMW, you can just create a variable known as cars there like that, and you put all of them inside this single variable. And to do that, you are going to be creating array. How do you recognize array? Is this square bracket. Once you see this square bracket, this is what we call array, and that thing means that this is your array now. It can hold multiple value inside it. But when it is like this, it is known as empty array. You can put value later on inside it, but right now it is empty. It doesn't have any value. But for this class now, how many values there? It's having 3 values. So for any array that you want to work with, you are going to separate all the value with comma here. So this class is having 3 value. The first one is Toyota, the second one is this Volvo, and the third one is this BMW. If I want, I can add multiple cars into it like that. So here we have a Kia and so forth like that. So this cars now, this variable, single variable here, is holding all this value. So instead of you creating how many value here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables, we created one variable and we put all the value inside it. And your array can be mixed. So which means it doesn't need to be of the same type. It can be of different type. As you can see, this one, it can hold string, it can hold number, it can hold boolean, it can hold null, it can even hold another array. Anything can be placed inside array. To separate them, to put the value there, just separate each one of the value with comma here, and that is going to treat each one of them separately. But all of them, they are under this single variable here. So to create array, just use your square bracket. This is one way. There's another way, but I'm going to be bringing that one later on when there is need for that, which is something like this. For example, consider empty array 1 is going to be new array like this. But what is this new keyword? We don't know about it yet, so that's why I'm not going to be using this one. What we're always going to be using here is this square bracket, because it's simple. You don't need to type a lot of things before you get your array like that. Once you just type this square bracket, that's array, and it's empty array. So square bracket, as you can see, once you expand it, can you see, is array automatically, but it's not having anything inside it. But if you want to create the one that have something inside, I can create array of numbers like this. And as you can see, this single array is holding 4 items, which is 1, 3, 6, 7. It's the same thing that we are doing here. So we are creating array of cars. So this single variable is holding all these values. And how do you access the value? So to access the value is quite different from the way you deal with the single variable. So the way you access value here is quite different from the way you deal with a single variable. To have access to array, we have something called index. To have access to array, so or before I talk about the index, let me just console log out the cars. So when you just access the name of the array, it's not going to give you a single value. It's going to give you all the value. Anytime you are working with array and you call it, as you can see, it's not going to give you just any of the value there. It's going to give you all the values that you have inside your array. And like that, as you can see, Toyota, Volvo, but if you look at it, there is a number beside them. This is what we call index. The number beside them here is what we call index. And this number is what you are going to be using later on to access any of the value. So for you to get this Toyota, you are going to use 0. To get Volvo, you are going to use 1. To get Lexus, you are going to use 3, and so forth like that. But what is this number here? This number is what we call index. So in array, we have something called index, and this is what is index? Index just means that you are starting counting from 0. So when you are talking about index, the counting is not starting from 1, the counting is starting from 0, and that's what you are going to use to access any of the value that you have inside your array. So when you want to access a specific value from your array, you are going to use the index. And what is index? Index just means that the counting is starting from 0. So if you want to take the first item in your array, you are going to use index 0. So that's the reason you see that Toyota is 0 here. So to get the second item, you are going to use index 1. To get the third item, you are going to use index 2, and so forth like that. So which means when you know the position of the element, just minus 1 from it to get the index of that element. So since this is the first item, the index is going to be 1 minus that position. That is 1 minus 1, that's 0. So this is second item. To get the index, that's 2 minus 1. That means this index of this one is going to be 1, and so forth like that. But we don't do it like that. Once you get used to index, you already know the first item is only 0. The next one is 1, and so forth like that. So which means if you want to get access to any of the value inside your array, you are going to be using this method here, which is the array, then this square bracket, and inside the square bracket you are going to pass the index of that array there. So this one is going to give you the value at that index. So for that, our car and everything that we have there now, so if you want to get Toyota, if you want to get the first value, what we can just do here is to do car at index 0. So what you are saying here is that you want to get the value at index 0 inside this array. So if you go back to the cars here, the first value there is Toyota. That's what this index is going to give you. And once I save it now, you see that we're going to be getting Toyota back. Let me remove this one that is printing out everything. So to get the value inside your array, you are going to be using the index like this. To get the value inside your array, you mention the variable, then inside the square bracket there, you pass the index. Don't forget, index means you are starting counting from 0. So the first item is at index 0, the second one is at index 1, and so forth like that. So what if I want to get Lexus now? What should I use? Which index should I use for Lexus? Which index should I use for Lexus? To get the value Lexus from the car. So which index am I going to use?
I can't see the screen.
Jesus.
I've not been seeing the screen since. I was thinking it's network issue. That's why I was just following up.
That means I will have to stop here. It's even 1 hour already, so maybe you have to watch. So for me to get this, it's going to just be 0, 1, 2, 3. So let me just put it the stuff and let it come out on the screen, and I'm going to stop the video here because I don't know. It's very important that you know what is going on. So I'll go over it in the next class. But the video too will be there like that. So I will stop here because it's 1 hour already.